There's something I also read about toxicity. All right, the fact that fragrance can cause toxicity in growing embryos. Are
Yes.
there evidences for this, and how what is the impact that can come from that
Yeah.
toxicity?
So when we work in an embryology lab, all right. So though I didn't really define those two sciences, I mean, andrology and embryology. Andrology is the science that deals with sperm, all right? Embryology is the one that deals with the eggs and the embryo. I mean, but we have overlaps all the time. Some labs they only have andrologists that only work with sperm. Some labs then they have embryologists that work with eggs and embryos. All right, but sometimes if they are well cross-trained enough, they can work in both ways. So one of the things we try to emphasize in an embryology lab is something called volatile organic chemicals or acids. All right, and those things could come from your perfume that you use on your body, the fragrance in your clothes. All right. Um, Sometimes it could be fumes in the environment. Maybe they just painted your office space. All right. So in an embryology lab, they invest heavily in an HVAC system. Right, that's the air conditioning system, and actually has some specialized filters that tend to help filter out VOCs, volatile organic chemicals, because the slightest amount of those chemicals interfering with your eggs, right, that are growing in the incubator could actually create a toxic environment for them. But we have other um, protocols and methodologies that we use, right? For instance, dishes that we culture eggs in, we overlay them with oil, right? Sometimes the oil is just to maintain temperature, maybe pH, maybe to filter off chemicals, but they can still get in, all right? They can diffuse in, right? So some of the things we watch out for is the VOC levels in the lab. It must not um, get to get above a particular threshold that is needed, right? Because if it's too high, then you begin to see decline in fertilization rates, blastulation rates, even pregnancy rates can be impacted up onto live birth rate. So yes, indeed, like I for one, as every embryologist, we don't use perfumes to work, right? Because we cannot use roll-ons, colognes. Even if you use roll-ons, it has to be a non-scented one, right? Well, a non-scented cologne or roll-on, right? But you cannot spray yourself heavily just because you want to smell good. Because the eggs are very finicky, right? They are the most delicate cells we work with in the lab, right? You have to work with them very carefully. If you um, if you handle them roughly, they'll die. If you inject them roughly, they'll die. If you expose them too long outside the incubator, they'll die, you know? So that's why we have protocols we follow. You cannot work on the eggs more than a, a permitted period of time outside of the incubator, all right, without adequately buffered media. So when we are working with them, the media we use, they've been buffered with the appropriate pH, because if there is disparities or changes in that pH as a result of you working on them too long outside of the incubator, you get bad outcomes at the end of the day. So yes, it's true. Volatile organic chemicals, right, can become toxic to the proper um, physiology of the eggs, and they could actually contribute to bad outcomes happening when they get exposed to such kinds of chemicals in the lab. All right.
Wow, wow! Thank you so much. Thank you. This is a you're lecturing us. So you know that you're a professor, right? We
Yeah,
we are your
let's
students for
see.
today. Thank you so
Yeah.
much. Thank you for sharing.